Chapter 34, A Temporary Cure for Loneliness. Helmer got up and he went to look out the balcony, and he saw the nobleman roaming around the gardens. And he took a piece of paper and he wrote something on it. And he looked about the top of the wash basin until he found some dental floss. He tied the paper to the bar of soap, and then he threw the soap at the nobleman's head. Allan entered the bathroom to see who had yelled, and Helmer barked at the nobleman, saying, "Leave me alone." "Did he say or do anything to your father?" asked Allan, raising an eyebrow. "No, but he's still there. Aren't you worried?" asked Helmer shyly. "He's harmless. He even lets Marina hit him whenever she becomes annoyed with his presence," said Allan. "That isn't very nice. Marina shouldn't strike others just for the sin of existing," said Helmer. More to himself, he didn't like this new side of Marina that he was discovering. Gregory and Caron found each other alone, and Caron drew near Gregory and he stole the keys, and the two started to leave. And before they left with Julian and Hope, Helmer whispered something to Hope. Hope nodded, and then he went to fetch Sunshine. Hope said to Sunshine, "I was thinking that I wanted to go to the temple with you, and you're always complaining about my lack of religion, and let's go there together." "That would please me very much," said Sunshine, smiling. And he hesitated, and then he looked at Helmer. "Maybe we can go there and pray for Helmer," suggested Hope. "And I bet if we pray hard enough, he will find a boyfriend, and then you won't have to feel guilty about sleeping with Allan." "I don't feel guilty at all," lied Sunshine. "I'm actually proud of what I did." "If you feel proud, maybe we can continue where we left off," said Allan, whispering to Sunshine. "Not now," barked Sunshine. "Later, I'm going to church." Hope succeeded in getting Sunshine out of the house, and Gregory, Julian, and Caron left on their own after a bit, and the final two fellows that needed to depart were Allan and Marina. And Helmer asked his son to bring some sales catalogs to see if anything piqued his interest, and Helmer left the topics quite vague to have Allan roaming around all over the shops. As for Marina, Helmer asked her to deliver some medicine for his patients. She had to pick it up at the local pharmacy and deliver each item in person. As soon as Marina left, the nobleman entered the house, as per Helmer's instruction, and Marina was purposely the last person to be sent out to signal that the house was finally empty. And despite all of his precautions, Helmer forgot about Pandora. She said to Helmer, "Having some company?" "Pandora, well, yes," said Helmer, chuckling with a strange smile on his face. "You did not think that they would leave you all alone, did you?" asked Pandora. "Well, I hope it is embarrassing for me to speak of my need," said Helmer shyly. I get it. It is totally cool," said Pandora condescendingly. "I will leave you alone, and I will even guard the fort and send the kids on more stupid errands should they return early. And when you finish, throw me a bar of soap, why don't you?" "Thank you, I will," said Helmer, smiling happily. Pandora felt safe about leaving Helmer alone because she had installed a hidden nanny cam in his bedroom. The nobleman saw Pandora pass by, and he asked, "Which is Allan Senior's room?" "Third floor, the one with the balcony that faces the ocean," explained Pandora. The nobleman found Helmer standing at the balcony looking at the ocean, and he returned Helmer the soap, and then he said, annoyed, "You certainly have a weird way of courtship, Allan Senior." "What can I say? I'm a pretty weird guy," said Helmer without a trace of shyness. "You certainly like walking barefoot a lot," commented the nobleman. Helmer raised his feet to showcase the cleanliness of it. Smiling, he said, "Marina cleans the house well to keep the roaches out. But despite her best effort, they still managed to get inside." Alright, doing the roach check. Alright, there's no roaches in the real world. Moving along. The nobleman kneeled down and he kissed the feet that Helmer was offering, and Helmer emitted a strange hysterical laughter. He removed his shirt and then he threw it on top of the nobleman's head. The nobleman stood up and he imbibed the aroma that still clung to the shirt. Helmer returned to the bedroom with the nobleman trailing behind him. "Are you satisfied with what you see? You came for steak, but only got bones," said Helmer, putting his hands behind the back of his head. "I had steak before, and for a scrawny guy, you're certainly quite handsome," said the nobleman, drawing nearer, and he placed his hand underneath Helmer's chin to get a better look at his face. "Yes, Allan Senior is shorter and scrawnier, but there's a certain finesse about you, and not a lick of hair and that pasty body, and those eyes are pretty cute." Helmer petted the nobleman's black hair, and the nobleman lowered himself while Helmer stood on his tippy toes to deliver a sweet kiss. The nobleman traced with his long fingers the bones in Helmer's chest, and his hand went lower and lower. Helmer blushed with delight, and he slowly undressed his lover. And when the nobleman was undressed, he sat on top of the futon, and he looked about the bedroom with disappointment. "I just moved here," begged Helmer angrily. And he drew near the nobleman, and he proceeded to kiss his magnificent instrument, and the nobleman said sharply, "Do try to maintain eye contact, otherwise I will leave you." The blushing in Helmer's face intensified as he forced himself to make eye contact with his visitor, and when he was encouraged enough, the nobleman lifted Helmer's face, and instead of kissing the mouth, he nibbled on the ear, and he lifted one of Helmer's thin legs, and then hit the other, and he proceeded to kiss and bite those lovely little digits on the feet, one of the foot people. After some time, Helmer pouting said, "You're going to split me in half today, are you not?" "If you interrupt my fun, I will leave you," said the nobleman before biting the big toe. Instead of splitting Helmer in half, the nobleman used the small little feet to conclude his workout, and Helmer looked with disappointment at his own dirty, stinky little feet. The nobleman laughing said, "Here, let me give you a hand." "If I wanted a hand, I could have used my own," protested Helmer, narrowing his eyes. "Then use it, why don't you? It would amuse me," said the nobleman, sitting back against the wall. "No," said Helmer, folding his thin arm. "Huh, Boof, you're no fun," said the nobleman, laughing, and changing his mind, he said, "How about a little dance? You can use a scarf for ornamentation, and don't forget to move the hips. Maybe that will inspire me, and then we shall see." I don't dance without music," said Helmer, picking up the scarf, "and I will make the music with my invisible guitar. Do-do-do-da-dum, do-do-do-dum-dum," said the nobleman as he played an imaginary air guitar. Helmer sighed in frustration, and he played along with the game. The nobleman added, "Sing the lyrics too." Helmer sighed with frustration, and then he began to sing. "I know the pieces still fit." "That's my jam beautiful, Helmer," said the nobleman, smiling before continuing the a cappella portion of the song. "There," said Helmer after concluding the song. "Are you going to give me what I want already?" "Almost," said the nobleman, standing up. And he tied Helmer's hands using a scarf, and laughing maniacally, he said, "Now you're under my complete control." "Whatever helps you sleep at night, Joshua," said Helmer dryly. "What a bore." "Turn around then." But that is not a position I enjoy," said Helmer, protesting. "This is what you get with that defiant attitude of yours," said Joshua, making Helmer kneel down. "Oh, please, Joshua, do me the way I like," said Helmer with an exaggerated inflection in his voice before rolling his eyes. "That's more like it," said Joshua, turning Helmer around to face him. And he placed both of the skinny legs over his shoulder, and he proceeded to pounce in a way that he knew that the Arch Magus enjoyed. Helmer enjoyed his Joshua till sunset, and Joshua, seeing the time, he started to get dressed. He kissed Helmer's bare back, and he said, "You have gotten skinnier since last I saw you, and if you keep this up, I fear you might disappear." "You don't like me anymore, do you, Joshua?" asked Helmer, sitting up. "I still like you, my little manic pixie, but your thinness worries me," said Joshua while the sun was setting over the horizon. "I am not sick, I just forget to eat, that's all," said Helmer, rubbing his thin shoulders nervously. Joshua kissed Helmer on the cheek before saying, "And I better get out of here before Allan shows up." "He'll understand if you tell him we're in love," said Helmer, wrapping his arms around Joshua. "In love? Surely you jest," said Joshua, laughing, and he reached into his coat pocket and he brought out a sack of coins, and he handed the entire bag to Helmer. He said, "Here, buy something nice for the kids, and this house looks pretty empty, and your room could use some proper furniture and a bed even." Helmer started taking in deep breaths as his hunger started to increase, and he said while gritting his teeth, "I did not do this for money. I have a job, a real job, unlike Allan. Would it have killed you to lie to me just a little? I am not the type of man who indulges in such fancies. We are both experienced, and such games only lead to heartache and disappointment." "Take the money, Helmer," insisted Joshua, removing another one of his expensive rings and putting it on Helmer's ring finger, and he added, "Here, you can give this to the blonde guy you like. And I bet if you approach him with the same confidence you showed me the first time we met, he is bound to fall in love with you." Helmer dropped the bag of coins in the ring, and he placed his hands around his shoulder, and then he started to scratch at them. In front of him, he said bitterly, "You don't think I tried that?" And I opened my heart to him, and he rejected me, and to make matters worse, he slept with my son, my baby Allan, and now he wants things to go back to the way they were before. Helmer collapsed on the floor after saying this, and he started to bash his head against the granite, and Joshua pulled him up to stop Helmer from harming himself, and he hugged Helmer, and he held on to the fragile body with much tenderness and affection. "I'm sorry, Helmer. You should have told me that Sunshine rejected you." "It's fine. Nobody in their right mind would want a piece of shit like me," said Helmer, crying. There, my manic pixie," said Joshua, kissing Helmer's beautiful ash-pink eyes. "If you need me to stay, I will stay." Joshua carried Helmer and the two showered together, and Joshua then went to clean the mess in the bedroom, and he went down to the basement, and he brought out a lovely pink nightgown for his lover to wear, and he tied Helmer's black hair with a satin pink ribbon. Smiling benevolently, Joshua said, "Don't you look lovely, my lady?" Helmer smiled shyly before taking the hand of his handsome knight, and he went to the window to throw the soap out the window to signal to Pandora that he was done mating. And Joshua escorted the Arch Magus downstairs, and Helmer sat in the kitchen with Joshua. While he rummaged through the kitchen, he brought out a frying pan and some sausage. "How about a bit of junk food?" asked Joshua, smiling. "I look forward to it," said Helmer warmly. Pandora entered the kitchen, quite pleased with her good deed for the day, and Helmer said, "Pandora, can you get Inanis to fetch me some strawberry milkshake?" "I can make it for you," said Pandora, summoning the ingredients. And by the time Marina and Allan returned to smell the food, the siblings followed the smell of food expecting to see Gregory cooking, and instead they saw Joshua. Helmer was eating a hot dog wrapped in bacon with ketchup and mustard. "I got hungry, so Joshua fed me," explained Helmer. "What are you still doing here, Joshua?" was it, asked Allan, narrowing his eyes. "Your poor father was struggling to open the freezer door, and when I asked him what was the matter, he said he was starving," said Joshua. "You forgot to put out food for him, and you did not even leave him a pitcher of water." "I am really, really sorry, Dad, and we sometimes forget that you don't know your way around the kitchen," said Marina sadly. "And we did all your chores. And I found some furniture catalogs that you might like, Dad," said Allan, sitting down at the table. And Joshua served the same junk food to Allan and Marina, and Sunshine arrived later, and even Mincy manifested with her big Bailey Bilishi. And Joshua made hot dogs and fries for everyone, though for Mincy and Lychee, he only made fries, and it was the first time Allan had seen the elementals eat normal food, and Joshua served for himself last before sitting down beside Helmer, and everyone was enjoying the meal in the company except for Marina. And finally she asked Joshua, "And what do you do before helping my dad with his food?" "I help him put on a ribbon," explained Joshua, "and now you can see his lovely face." "You certainly do look quite charming, Dad," said Allan, trying to make his dad feel better about his appearance. And he went to the bathroom, and he came back with a hand mirror, and Allan put his face right next to his father in order to show up in the same reflection. And then he said, "See, all you need is a bit of maintenance." Allan smiled, and when the reflection of his father's face started to glow with delight, and Marina's face turned even darker, and scowling she whispered, "And before you picked the lovely ribbon, I painted your father's lovely dress, and before that I painted his toenails, and before that I gave him a foot massage, and before that I brushed his hair, and before that I showered with him, and before that," said Joshua, chuckling. Marina screamed in anger, and she looked about for something heavy to hit Joshua with, and she stopped when Helmer said, "Settle down, Marina." "Yes, Daddy," said Marina meekly. "I take it you know Joshua," said Allan, laughing. "Yes, we bought this house together for you two kids," said Helmer. "So all those times Joshua visited was because you asked him to check up on us," asked Marina, feeling guilty about all of the times she had been mean to Joshua. "And all of the gifts he gave us, they were from you, right?" asked Allan, surprised and delighted. "Not all the gifts. Some were from him as well. And when I couldn't afford to give you anything nice, he would buy for me the gift I wanted to give you. And he took a lot of risks every time I asked him to check up on you and Marina," explained Helmer. And smiling coyly, he said, "So he's the important business you had to attend to in Mildred." "I had other things to tend to as well," said Helmer, avoiding the question. "And I know Joshua from before Marina's birth. And you were wee small, Allan, so you probably don't remember him. And he bought you those little shoes you insisted on wearing all the times. And we were both married, and when I visited Mildred, his wife Bethany would look after you, Allan. Do you remember Bethany? Do you remember that riding that cute mare with her. You were so afraid of that large horse, remember, baby Allan? Yes, said Allan happily. I am starting to remember. I used to call her Auntie Bess, and that's when I speak for days in the kingdom of Mordred. I wanted him to leave Bethany and marry me, but Joshua claimed to love and respect his wife even though he was not physically attracted to her. And she knew of his eccentricities, and she did not mind because he was a good father and husband, said Helmer sighing as he swam in the ocean of bittersweet memories. And how are Bethany and the kids? The same, said Joshua, not desiring to elaborate. And yours? The same, said Helmer. And what are you doing tomorrow? Whatever I feel like. I still have a couple of days left on my timeshare. Good, said Helmer shyly. He wants to know if you want to visit him again tomorrow, said Sunshine, smiling. And if Helmer has someone, it would alleviate his guilt a little bit. I will believe it when he says it, said Joshua, folding his arm. Helmer's not mute. If he wants something, he should ask for it. Good night, Joshua, said Helmer sadly. Ah, va, babanga.